Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting video with me. Let's get started. Today we'll be looking at solving quadratic equations using the method of completing the square. What does it mean to complete the square? This involves transforming a quadratic expression into a perfect square trinomial. So it represents a geometric square if you visualize it as an area. Let's take some examples and see how to go about this. Usually you'll be given you'll be given an expression like this: ax squared plus bx plus c. You're supposed to write it as y equals a into brackets x plus, let's call this p, all squared, and then let's call this q. So you'll be given a quadratic function or an expression like this: ax squared plus bx plus c, and then you'll be required to write it in this way. What you need to note is, if a is not equal to 1, then you factorize it. So note, if a is not equal to 1, factorize. You factorize it out. Let's take some examples and have fun with it. Example 1. If you have y equals x squared plus 8x minus 2, and you're supposed to solve this by completing the square. So I'm going to teach you a very easy way to do this. Then after that, I'll teach you the algebraic way to properly do it. So with this one, I can decide to make a square out of this. Let's make a square. So I break the x squared down as x and then x. How about this 8, the 8 over here? I divide it into 2. So I can put 4 strokes here: 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4 strokes down: 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll need to complete this square. So I can do that by adding these points here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. By so doing, I've drawn a square. So this looks more like a square. Okay, so I first of all split the x and x. I divided this 8 into 2 to give me 4 strokes up, 4 strokes down. So since this is plus 8, I write plus 4 here. I also write plus 4 here. And then when I completed this part of the square, I got 16. So this is plus 16. Now in solving, I use negative 16, and then I add this last number here, which is negative 2. So this gives me negative 18. Since I use positive 16 here, in solving I use negative 16, and then I add this last number you see over here, that's negative 2, to get negative 18. How do I present my answer? So my answer becomes, I pick one of the x plus 4s. So you see, you have x plus 4 here. So that will give us x plus 4 all squared, and then the value I got for this one, negative 18, so minus 18. And that gives me my answer. I've been able to write it in the form x plus p all squared minus q, or plus q. So I've been able to write it in this way. And by so doing, I've completed the square. Let's take another example. Example 2. If I have x squared plus 6x minus 7. Okay, let me change this to minus 6x. So you see the other differences. X squared minus 6x minus 7. So what do I do? So I can draw a square from this. I split the x squared as x and x. This is negative 6. Let's focus on the 6. So we divide 6 into 2. So that gives us 3 strokes here, 3 strokes down. Since this is minus 6, I write minus 3, then I write minus 3. What do? I complete this square by adding these dots or points here, and that gives me 9 of them. So this is plus 9. So in my solution, since I use plus 9 here, it means I'll use minus 9. Then I add this last number here, which is minus 7, and that gives me minus 16. So how do I present my answer? My answer now becomes x minus 3 all squared minus 16. That becomes my answer. It looks easy, isn't it? Let's take another example. Example 3. If I have x squared minus 4x plus 13. So I can do the same thing over here. I split the x squared as x and x. Then minus 4. Let's focus on 4. We divide 4 by 2. So we can have 2 strokes here and then 2 strokes down. I complete the square. So I have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So let me write minus 2, minus 2, minus 2 because there's a negative sign over here, minus 4. That's why I have minus 2. If it had been plus 4, I'd have written plus 2. Okay, so when I completed this one, I had 4 of them, so that's plus 4. In my solution, I would use minus 4. Then I add this last number, which is plus 13. And that gives me 9. So how do I present my answer? In presenting my answer, I write x minus 2 all squared plus 9. That becomes my answer. Okay. What if I have x squared, I have a number multiplying the x squared? So in a situation like this, let's say you do 4x squared plus 16x plus 5. Alright, in a situation where the a is not 1, so the 4 here is representing our a, what we do is that we factorize it. That was what I said at the beginning of the video. So you factorize this, so 4 comes out, then you can have x squared plus 16 over 4x plus 5 over 4. So this simplifies to 4 out x squared. So x squared plus 4x plus 5 over 4. So what I now do is that I solve what is in the brackets using our fast method. So what happens is we split this x squared into 2. Here too I have plus 4. So I divide 4 by 2 and then I get 2 strokes up, 2 strokes down. Since I have plus 4, I write plus 2. Here is also plus 2. Then I complete this. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Since this is giving me plus 4, it means I use minus 4. Then I add this last number to it, which is plus 5 over 4. So when I do minus 4 plus 5 over 4, I'm supposed to get minus 11 over 4. So I write my answer. In writing my answer, it becomes x plus 2 all squared minus 11 over 4. But we are not done. Remember, there is this 4 over here, which is multiplying everything. So 4 is multiplying everything. So I multiply through by the 4, and then I get 4 into bracket x plus 2 all squared minus 11. This becomes my answer. That's very easy. Okay, so we can have a formula for this. From what we are doing, we can derive a formula. So for the formula, we can say that step 1, divide. Let's use an example to do this. So let's say we have x squared plus 8x minus 2. So, and then comparing this to the general quadratic expression, a squared plus bx plus c. So here our a is equal to 1, b is equal to 8, c is equal to minus 2. So the first step that we need to do is to divide the b by 2. So let's represent that with a letter, let's say p. So p is equal to b over 2. In this case, it becomes 8 over 2, which is equal to 4. Step 2, Let's represent that with a letter. Let's say Q. So Q is equal to C minus P squared. C, which is the last number here. So over here we have minus 2 minus P is 4. So we do 4 squared. And this will give us minus 2 minus 16. And that gives us minus 18. Step 3, we write our answer. In writing our answer, we write our answer in this form: x plus p all squared plus q. So that becomes x plus 4 all squared minus 18, because q is 18. You can check if your answer is correct by expanding this. If you expand this, you should get this back. So let's expand this. X plus 4 all squared gives us x squared plus 8x plus 16 and then minus 18. When we simplify this, we get x squared plus 8x minus 2. And this is the same as the initial question that we had. So it means our solution is correct. All you need to do is, you first of all divide the b by 2. So that's what we have here. And then you do the last part, which is the last number here, minus p squared. So the last number here in this case was minus 2. So minus 2 minus p squared, and p here we got 4, so 4 squared, so that's minus 18. After I put it together this way, x plus p all squared plus q. So that gives us this. Let's take another example. In this case, let's say we have x squared plus 5x minus 3. So here our b is an odd number. So what do? We still apply the formula. So we can say p is equal to 5 over 2, and that gives us 2.5. And then q is equal to, we know q is c minus p squared, where c is the last number here. So that gives us minus 3 minus, then we do 2.5 squared. So this will give us minus 3 minus 2.5 squared is 6.25. So this gives us minus 9.25. So our answer becomes, we write it in this form: x plus p all squared plus q. So our answer becomes x plus 2.5 all squared, and then q is minus 9.25, so minus 9.25. That becomes our answer. Let's take this other example. So example 2. So write x squared plus 8x plus 10 as x plus p all squared plus q. Now find the values of p and q. Find the values of p and q. That's the first one. Second one, hence solve x squared plus 8x plus 10 equal to 30. All right, let's do the first part. So find the values of p and q. So to solve this, the I part, we know that we are supposed to divide the b by 2. So p is equal to 8 over 2, which is 4. And then we know that q should be equal to c minus p squared, where c is the last number here. So that gives us 10 minus, and then p we got 4, so 4 squared. So this is 10 minus 16, and that is equal to negative 6. So it means that p is equal to 4, q is equal to negative 6. So to do the second one says that we should solve x squared plus 8x plus 10 equal to 30. So solving this, it means that we would have x plus, we are writing it as x plus p all squared plus q, and that is equal to 30. But our p is 4, so x plus 4 all squared minus 6 equals 30. So we transpose the minus 6 to this other side, and that would give us x plus 4 all squared is equal to 30 plus 6, which is 36. Now I'm looking for x, not x squared. So I find the roots of both sides, and then the root cancels the square. So I'll have x plus 4 equal to root 36 will give me plus or minus 6. So this will give me x. So over here too, I take the 4 to the other side. So x is equal to negative 4 plus or minus 6. This means x is equal to negative 4 plus 6 or negative 4 minus 6. So our final answer x should be equal to 2 or negative 10. I think this is very easy. Alright, so I'm going to show you how to solve this using the algebraic method. If you have x squared plus 8x plus 10, you are supposed to write this as x plus p all squared plus q. So the first thing you need to do is, okay, so this one, the coefficient of the x squared is already 1. So we come to the x. We divide this by 2, or you can say you multiply by half, and then you square it, and then you add and subtract to the equation. So this gives us x squared plus 8x. So when I divide this 8 by 2, that will give me 4. So I square it, and then over here too, I subtract the same thing. So this is what I have. So x squared plus 8x. So all I did was I divided this by 2 to give me 4. So I square it, I add and subtract. Why do I add and subtract? Because I can as well plus 4, so plus 4 squared gives me 16, minus 4 squared gives me 16. So plus 16 minus 16 will still give me this, and this can cancel out so that we can get our equation back, this equation back. We can get this expression back, I mean. So that's what we have. And then when we get to this way, this one simplifies as, so you see, I can pick the first one here and then pick the last one here. So I pick the first thing I'm seeing here, I pick the number in this bracket. So that gives me x plus 4 all squared. When I expand this, I'll get from here to here. When I expand this, I get from here to here. And then I do this. So this gives me plus 10 minus 16. So that's x plus 4 all squared. This gives me minus 6. So you can either use the first method I taught you, or you can also use this way, this method. I'm going to give you two examples to try. So you solve it and then you show us your answer in the comment section. We are going to acknowledge you in our next video. So try these examples. So we have x squared minus 8x plus 5, and then 3x squared minus 9x plus 1. So you solve it, you drop your answers in the comment section. We'll look at it, and then in our next video, we'll acknowledge you, all those who are the answers correct. Hope you enjoyed this video. See you in our next lesson.